Hello, this is Bruce Timm, producer.
Butch, Lukic, director.
Dwayne McDuffie, story editor.
James Tucker, producer.
And here we are with Twilight Part 2. Now, this was the episode where we kind of turned the show around. Season 1 was pretty good. I think it got better as we went along, and certainly by the time we got to episodes like A Night of Shadows and Savage Time, I think we were closer to where we wanted to be. But in between the two seasons, we actually literally had many discussions amongst ourselves about, what we had done right in season 1 and what we had done wrong, and licked our wounds, and basically, tried to figure out how we could, create new and improved Justice League. Now, better tasting.
Yes.
And literally, we sat in a room for in a conference room for almost a whole day. It was myself and James and Stan Berkowitz and Rich Fogel, and we literally made laundry lists of what we thought we could do, places where we still needed improvement on the show. And so we were determined, by whatever means possible, to improve the show for season 2. So this specific episode, Twilight, knowing that it was going to be our season premiere, we wanted to come out of the gate, swinging for the fences. So we did whatever we could to make this show as good as possible. Now, when Rich Fogel first initially pitched the idea for the script to James and I, we weren't terribly keen on it.
It was a team up between two major villains, and it was like, how does that work? And
well, the big problem was that we have so few major league villains who could conceivably take on the Justice League all by themselves, and here we were using up 2 of them in one story.
Right.
And Rich, he kept saying, I know that's valid, but let me work on it. I think I can pull it off. And he came real close, through many, many drafts of outlines and scripts. The story kept getting better and better. And in fact, I think that the structure of the story works a whole lot better than I initially ever thought it would. But quite late in the game, when we got Rich's latest draft, it was on a Friday afternoon, and literally Monday, the storyboard guys were going to come in and start storyboarding it, and I thought the script, it wasn't quite there yet. I felt that there was a tendency on Rich's part to kind of pull his punches a little bit, to not quite go for it. So over the weekend, I basically did a rewrite of both parts, and just to kind of push the show just a little bit further. I felt like we kind of really needed to take the kid gloves off and just really go for it. So
we had changed the tone of the show. I mean, we totally rethought the tone of the show, and I think that was a learning curve there.
Mm-hmm. Well, season 1 was good, but we, a lot of it was a conscious decision, but we did kind of deliberately pull our punches in season 1. We were deliberately not trying to make the show as dark as we had done on Batman and Batman Beyond and Superman.
Right, but at least Superman got tougher on this season. Right.
Well, that was one of the major areas where we really needed to improve for season 2. We said no more super wimp, because everybody kept saying, season 1 Superman is just, he's wimpy. So we said, okay, this episode, this is a perfect opportunity. If we've got both Brainiac and Darkseid, 2 of Superman's most hated villains, even more so than Luthor, these guys push Superman's buttons. That's a perfect opportunity to show Superman just really stepping up to the plate. I want to point out here the backgrounds. Another thing that we really concentrated on in season 2 was really pushing the scale of the settings, and
maybe darker too.
Definitely darker.
Today, I renew that offer.
I've said it before, but literally one of our mantras throughout season 2 was good enough isn't good enough. Season 1, we had a tendency, because we had so many things to do in the show, because the show is just huge. There's just so much involved in doing the series, design work and everything, that we knew we weren't going to be able to win every battle, so we would get things to a certain point. We'd say, okay, that's good enough, it's approved, let's move on. And for season 2, we kept saying, you know what, good enough isn't good enough. We're gonna, if I'm seeing a background and it looks good, what can we do to make it great? And so I did that all throughout season 2, is just cracking the whip over all the artists, just okay, it looks good, make it great. And by whatever that means, it's like if the sky is blue, we hate blue sky, make it something different. Go for a weirder color scheme. And
which is stuff we used to always do. I don't know why we stopped, but this was getting back to what we know best. I mean, we do dark good.
Yeah,
and
it's not necessarily dark, but it's intense. It's edgy.
Intense.
Edgy. It's the show doesn't necessarily have to be dark, but it has to be intense. You have to be in the moment. And in season 1, you were rarely in the moment.
Yeah.
It's like we really wanted to up the ante on the threat,
right.
And when characters get hit, it looks like it hurts.
Well, our other model was Ring the Bell, courtesy of Mel Brooks from the producer's DVD.
I'm going to have to explain that to people.
Right,
yeah. James and I were watching the DVD of the producers, and on the featurette, Mel Brooks was talking about when he was initially doing the producers, the whole Springtime for Hitler thing was, at the last minute, he was getting cold feet about it. He started second-guessing himself, saying, well, is this just in such horrific taste that, people are just going to find it offensive and not find it funny? And he was getting really worried. And all of a sudden he stopped and he said, you know what? Forget it. If you're going to ring that bell, you just got to march right up to it and ring it. And so what James and I took that to mean was that, if you've got an idea that seems like it's maybe a little bit over the top or maybe a little too audacious or a little bit too far-fetched, but if it's a good idea, commit to it and do it.
Patience, my dear. Everything has a purpose and a place.
I remember when I did my rewrite of the script, a lot of what I did was just
ring the bell.
Well, I was ringing the bell on the dialogue, and I may have overcompensated a little bit. I mean, people notice that Batman makes a few too many one-liners in this story. And then Superman, of course, has that infamous line later on about, the greasy smear on my fist. And I remember even James, you were a little bit appalled at that script, at that line when you read the script.
Yeah,
and the thing is, I kind of felt like he really needed to do that, I mean, in Rich's original draft, when Superman finally does come to blows with Darkseid, the scene pretty much starts as the way it does now. Darkseid breaks Orion's back, but then Superman shows up in the corridor, sees Darkseid and says, "Murderer!" and just starts hitting him. Yeah. And I felt like, well, you know what? We've been building up for 2 whole episodes of Superman's animosity towards Darkseid, and Darkseid's been, baiting him and torturing him and doing all these things. And not only that, but also going back to the Superman show with all of the history they had between the two of them, and they had that really big, good knockdown, drag out in Legacy. It's like, you know what? That's not enough just to have Superman say murderer and start hitting him. It's like, so anyhow, when I did my draft of it, I wrote in that entire dialogue section between the two of them where they basically talk trash at each other before they start hitting each other.
Well, the other problem with season 1 was that we purposely ignored some of our continuity that we had set up in the Batman and Superman shows. And this episode here brings all that back. And all the motivations that the characters had, suddenly they're valid again. And we use them, and that's what motivates Superman's, disdain and anger. And
yeah, I forgot. Was Darkseid scarred from the previous fight with Superman?
Basically, I took it upon myself to redesign Darkseid to make him look a little bit more like the way Jack Kirby drew him in the comics. I have to point out, that's a Butch Lukic drawing right there. This is Butch's section of the storyboard.
Yeah, he did all the boring stuff this time.
And anyhow, so Darkseid, I liked the way he looked in Superman, but I thought we could make him look more Kirby-ish, and Kirby did have a lot more craggy stuff on his forehead, so it wasn't literally intended to make his head look like it's scarred from having his head blown up, but it certainly works that way. I was cognizant of it when I was designing it.
Yeah, my favorite line in this show is "loser" at the end by Darkseid.
Yeah. You like that line?
Yeah, that sums everything up.
Right. Yeah. Ringing the bell, ringing the bell.
Yep. So this section here, this was, I'm going to say, Troy Adamitis.
Yeah, I think it's
Dave Bullock.
Dave Bullock ghosting, helping Troy out because he was late on the board. But he did a great job anyway.
There you go, clean it up.
Our stratagem was a success.
So I really like the backgrounds in Brainiac's head world. I don't like looking at Darkseid's skirt there. That was a shot I wish we had changed.
This animation looks better than I remember.
It looks good. This is not necessarily their A crew, Coco's A crew, but it looks really good. I love the floating city in New Genesis. I think that was Craig painted that.
They're not important, just bugs.
Yeah, the animation was great throughout this episode, pretty much.
It's pretty solid.
We didn't have
pretty
to
nice.
cut much out, except for my Forever People sequence.
Your Forever People are in there.
No, they're not.
At the end.
I think we threw it out.
They're at the end.
They show up at the end.
Oh, right.
Right.
But during the storm sequence where
Oh, right.
they were supposed to be helping the kids out.
What do you mean you didn't have to cut much out? You had to cut like 100 pages out of Adam Van Wyck's section.
Yeah, we had tons of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Which never got animated. It's just on storyboard.
Adam Van Wyck, too much than too little.
Adam Van Wyck was one of our top storyboard guys, but he did have a tendency to kind of go off on a tangent.
Agreed.
Beautiful shot.
That's an excellent shot. That's very nice. Great score there too. I think that's Chris Carter doing that bit there.
And the 10,000 Brainiacs.
Right. But the thing about Adam
sounds
was
like a rock man.
It does.
Simple
revenge.
Adam would board a whole bunch of stuff that we just couldn't use. I mean, he would board literally hundreds of pages of material.
Well, because the show's not 3 hours long.
Well,
that's why. It wasn't the quality of it.
No, it was good stuff, but
he literally would go overboard.
yeah, literally.
It was my job
pun
to
intended.
control him. I don't think I did a good job.
No.
Well,
No, you didn't.
the thing that
Luckily.
Yeah, exactly.
the thing about Adam was that he would give you the stuff you needed as well. He
Sure.
would give you that stuff, but then he would also give you tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff that you couldn't possibly.
Right, but my job was to kind of bridge his stuff
Right.
together and throw stuff out and even it out and
Right.
make it clear, which he could do, but he gets on a tangent and
Oh yeah,
doesn't know.
he starts writing his own story. I remember he had like this whole bit about Batman when the big fight breaks out here in Brainiac's head. I mean, he had like this whole big thing with Batman, shielding himself behind a console and
Right.
trying to rig the thing. And
Well, he also did more of Orion in Darkseid, which we
Right.
didn't need because that would have killed your Superman bit with Darkseid.
Was the anti-life equation thing in the original pass of the script? I don't think
remember.
it was. I don't think that was the crux of why Darkseid was doing what he was doing.
Well, what is the anti-life equation?
good, who knows? It's what we say it is.
What do we say, Alice?
I always thought it was the commandy thing where everyone or humans become idiots and animals become intelligent.
I don't think that's the anti-life equation, but I could be
But
wrong.
it might be.
So we're living it then.
You won.
That's a nice.
This
That's
is
a cool
great
scene. I actually did storyboard that, and they kind of did it almost exactly the way I wanted them to. It's like very nice.
Who was the animators on this one? Coco?
It's Coco. Yeah.
And we didn't get DR till maybe like the third episode.
They did. Yeah, you're right. The third episode, Only a Dream, was the first one they did for
Right.
us.
And they were still figuring things out then.
Yeah, Coco was doing killer work.
Where is Superman?
We started setting up Hawkgirl's whole double agent thing.
Oh,
here.
absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
well, that was the thing. We'd kind of skated a lot of that on season
Season
one,
one.
and then we said, oh, that's one of the things we're going to do in this episode is we're going to, lie to the audience and have her lie to the Justice League and, about what her cover story is. And I like this bit here where John says, hey,
Big
you know what?
fat hint.
There might be information here about Thanagar. And she's like, we don't have time to talk about that right now. We got to go save Superman.
Right.
So, which everybody kind of took at face value. But then once you've seen Starcross, you can go back and watch this whole season. You go, oh, wow, now I understand what she's talking about. That's very
Right,
interesting.
especially when you watch the whole DVD now, you'll see the hidden themes going on throughout the series.
Oh, yeah. And that's a cool bit.
Adam.
To Adam.
That's Adam, yeah.
Absolutely. That's,
If you can see their skeleton, it's usually Adam.
it's true.
They also tried to kill Lois Lane on screen in the next one,
That's
Yeah.
right.
which he didn't succeed.
Oh, that's right.
That's right,
He had Superman frying her
Right.
on
Only a
screen and
dream.
turning into a burning skeleton. Right. Yeah, like that was going to go through. Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember this. They did
Oh.
CG asteroids for this
Oh,
sequence
right,
in
and
the
they
first
look-
take.
Yeah, they look terrible.
They looked like kibbles and bits.
Right.
It was awful. It was like space kibble. Yeah. So we said, no, just paint him
Paint
and
it.
pull him. Yeah, just bypack him, please.
But why? You of all people should know the universe is filled with chaos, confusion, and uncertainty. I will tear it down to nothing, and then rebuild it, bringing order and discipline at last. Think of it, Superman. A new universe created in my image.
Well, Dwayne, when did you come in? I forgot. At what time? It was like after this?
Yeah, I came in. This stuff was coming back,
All right.
Right.
so I got nothing.
Well, you weren't on staff probably when we did this script, but like right soon after this, I
Yeah,
think
this
you
is.
hired.
I mean,
you
we
hired
were
Jim.
talking about scripts after this as this stuff was coming in.
Well, here's where the Forever People were supposed to be for you fans of the Forever People.
All three of you.
But they're at the end.
New Genesis had some shoddy contracting work done.
No, that's a very massive maelstrom.
Those doors were really flimsy. Anyway, I mean, whole sculptures are floating up. What's that made of?
Come on.
It's the back lot.
You're wrecking the illusion.
You can't even comprehend these cosmic forces.
No, I know. Hey,
They're beyond mortal comprehension.
I don't
They,
know.
they pick up statues.
What was this, homeowners insurance?
I was afraid they weren't going to do the wind effects on that sequence too good, but it turned out okay.
They did a great job.
Most of the effects.
Guess it's up to us.
Yay, Hawk Girl.
Yay. We love Hawkgirl. So now I think it's Mike McQuiston doing the music. Normally, we would have one composer do both parts of a story arc. And unfortunately, Chris just had a scheduling conflict, just couldn't handle doing both parts of this story. So both Lolita Ritmanis and Mike McQuiston helped him out and did certain cues throughout this show. So right now, I think you're listening to Mike McQuiston's work. But this is one of my favorite cues. It's just a really kick-butt action sequence. But really nice stuff. Yeah, zillions of brainiacs.
Yeah. Adam's Brainiacs. There was only supposed to be 5, but you know,
That's right.
he had free time to draw 10,000.
Yeah, that's fine. And, you know,
I'm
they
kidding.
managed to animated it.
There was more in the script. Probably 10.
Oh, I think it was. It was supposed to be a bunch of brainiacs.
Ouch.
I know, the sound effects here rule. No, it's very cool. No, this is the kind of thing that we probably wouldn't have been this
Oh, there you
vicious in
go.
season 1. Oh, that was one of my gags.
Well, this show
Punching him in the
represents
back of
just
the
us at the top of our game, just across the board. The music's better, the sound effects are better, the
visuals
story's
are
better,
definitely
the
better.
visuals.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you know, just a marked improvement.
And the relationships between the characters got better, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess we were finding our way in the first season.
Right. Well, we had established in the old Batman and Superman shows that Batman and Superman, you know, weren't just best buddies.
Right.
And we'd kind of like, we didn't play too much on that season 1, and I thought for this show it was a perfect opportunity to kind of bring some of that antagonism back. Well, not only that, because Superman's being a little bit wishy-washy in part 1, and because of his hatred of Darkseid, he's not going to take action, and Batman's trying to snap him out of it by being bad cop. So, you know, so Batman's being really snarky with him throughout the whole throughout the whole two-parter, and I think that really it adds just an extra dimension to their relationship, and especially at the end when Batman says, "Oh, you know, Superman, that idiot, he's gonna blow everything and, you know, get himself killed," and he goes up and he actually tries to save Superman against his will, and Superman backhands him against the wall. It's like, wow, it's good stuff.
This is a great cue.
This is a great. Look at that.
Scale.
Great
Amazing
sound
scale.
effects, too.
Mm-hmm. By the source.
Well, also, this is a second season where we did start to get scale a lot better than, and also it was screened in widescreen,
That's true.
which we didn't have in the first season.
Yeah. Oh, the heck with it. Just hit it. And it works.
Hey, he's Batman.
No, they did a great job here, and the effects are nice, too.
Oh, do you remember you ran this backwards? It wasn't...
We did all kinds
We
of
did the
things, yeah.
film backward on that one.
I see we cut in a TMS explosion there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Just briefly. Just for a second or two. Some of our little usual editing tricks. So, now my tricky part in this next sequence when Superman and Darkseid are hitting each other forever, I actually got pulled rank and said, I'm going to do that sequence because I want to do it. I kind of had to top the sequence we had done in Legacy, where they had also a, you know, nasty, you know, knockdown, drag out fight.
Well, this was your starts.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
right here. This is my section here. And I had actually also boarded that sequence in Legacy, which, again, famously had, you know, great climax, you know, where Superman, you know, blocks Darkseid's head where he's trying to shoot the Omega beams out and blows Darkseid's head up. And it was like, wow, how are you going to top that? So
Yeah,
I don't know if we
favorite scene.
topped it, but I came up with like the hot foot gag, and the trash talk in here is cool.
Which I was surprised it actually got through.
Oh yeah, what the burning through his foot? Yeah,
It is the
This is
shocker
great.
of the show.
Here's the
Yep.
line. Is this the greasy smear line?
it's coming up.
Darkseid's line's better.
I do have to point out the stellar work being done by George Newbern here.
But yeah, this is where George really came into his own,
George
too.
really came into. He really stepped up to the plate here too. Well, I mean, the tricky thing is because he didn't play Superman and Superman the animated series. He didn't know who Darkseid was. He didn't know why Superman hated him so much. So we literally had to sit down and give him like a 20-minute tutorial on the history of Superman and Darkseid. But he got it, and you know, he was able to, you know, channel some inner rage. And he really he's ultra macho here.
And you had him animate this a couple times, some scenes, didn't you?
There's probably quite a few retakes in this. But
Yeah.
Well, this sequence definitely needed to be the best it could be.
I think they definitely put their best animator on it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, plus the drawings on the board.
Well, the thing I have to say about my storyboarding is that I'm not very good at staging action scenes with fancy camera moves or fancy choreography. That's just not my forte. But the only way I know how to stage a fight scene is if it's just vicious. If the protagonists or the antagonists just hate each other.
Well,
So
that is
But
the
I am
best
pretty
kind
good
of
at that. If there's just, you know, 100 pounds of hatred
a
behind every
pimp slap.
blow. That's cool. Oh yeah, and then
This is
stomping his
great.
face into the ground. Yeah, I'm good at that stuff. And I'm a nice guy too. I don't know where all this
Wow.
horrible rage comes from. Oh, I've never done that to you, James.
Not literally. Didn't we reuse a scene here?
We slowed one down.
Yeah. This one, I think, was earlier in the sequence.
We did some rearranging.
There's a lot of rework in here.
Yeah. Well, you never know until you actually get it in the editing room what the rhythm of it's like,
Sure.
And so, but yeah, I know we
I
definitely.
love this music cue.
Oh yeah, it's very nice, very epic.
And a nice simple background really helps you to
Yeah.
just focus on the two characters.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering how Batman got from the ship all the way here.
He runs very fast.
That's totally your drawing.
Yeah, but this next one isn't. My expression on the board was way more intense. I think they just didn't know how to interpret it because he was quite off model, but he was just furious and full of rage. And
Someone should have told the animators to ring the bell.
you know what? The animators.
This is great. I'm sorry.
In their defense, they rang the bell. They
Yeah,
did a
this
great
is
job
really
on this
good.
episode.
Yeah.
They really, really did.
Here comes the best line of the show.
Yeah.
The timing of it's good.
Loser.
Boom.
He should have made the big L with his finger.
That's actually a great explosion
Yeah.
compared to stuff we used
We
to
had to
get.
do something in it. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly what we did there, but we did some double exposing, and we did all kinds of tricks on that explosion because originally it wasn't all that great.
Here's the second best
So-
line in the show.
That was dead slow, I
Mm.
remember.
You know something, Bruce?
Oh, you're not always right?
Not always.
Yeah.
Didn't the story editor say that to you once?
You know, Bruce, you're not always right?
Because sworn it came from
Oh,
somewhere.
it could be. Could be. That could be a quote from real life. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Who's the actor that plays Ryan?
Ron Perlman.
Oh, Ryan. Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
Heckboy.
Any
And
sign of you?
Rob Paulson, making one of his very, very few rare appearances in a DC animated universe cartoon. He's most well known as being Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, and amongst other characters, he usually plays cartoony type characters. But I actually thought Rob would be good for playing Light Ray, and I think he was really, really good in the part. He doesn't really have many scenes or anything, but I really like him quite a bit as Light Ray. So
I figured
Who's
this.
the
there's your forever people.
All right, and Mr. Miracle.
And Mr. Miracle.
And the Bug, isn't
Mark
he in it somewhere?
Moonrider.
Yeah, where is the bug? Oh, there he is. No.
He shows up later.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a story point.
He was in the script, wasn't he?
Oh, he's there. Yeah, he was in the script, yeah.
You did this?
Which, if you are a Fourth World fan, you'd know all about these characters.
Fourth World what?
fan.
Fourth World.
Fourth World fan.
Me.
This was intended to be the last time we will ever see Darkseid. I mean, because we've done so many episodes with him in Superman, and I guess we'd never blown him up before. I mean, we blew up his head, but he still survived that, and we had that great scene where he got, welcomed back by his slaves and stuff. But this one we thought, you know what, we need to go out with a bang, or Darkseid needs to go out with a bang, and let's just blow him up.
I came in as a viewer, and I was completely convinced he was dead. I thought he was gone.
Well, he is.
He's
dead. He's dead. He got blowed up. He didn't teleport out at the last minute. He blew it up.
Rang the bell.
Yep. Anyhow, that was fun. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, great episode.
Bye.
Bye.